Wrestling is one of those sports that has always brought glory around the world to Ukrainian sports, and it still does. And he's a vivid representative of world freestyle wrestling. He could have become a footballer, but the coach from his village moved to another city, so he followed in his older brother's footsteps and focused on wrestling. Oleksandr Khotsianivskyi competes in the men's 125kg weight category. At the 2019 World Wrestling Championships in the capital of Kazakhstan, Nur-Sultan, Oleksandr won a bronze and has earned a place at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo. Watch next in The Cost of Victory to learn more about how he trains for the main competition every 4 years and what goals Oleksandr is setting himself for Tokyo. Performances in Nur-Sultan became the most successful in the career of the freestyle wrestler from Donetsk. Prior to this, his best result in world competitions was 5th place, which he earned in Tashkent in 2014. 5 years later, in Kazakhstan, he climbed the podium of an adult world championship for the first time in his life. The coaches told us, and we geared ourselves up to get at least a license and at best a medal. But we did not know what kind of medal. What would it be? But I got a bronze medal, and I'm pleased with this result. And our coaching staff is pleased with this result too. I'm satisfied overall with this medal. In addition to awards, places for the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo were also up for grabs at the World Championship. If you get into the top 6, you win a place at the Olympics for your country. In Nur-Sultan, Oleksandr turned out to be the only representative of Ukrainian freestyle wrestling who managed to secure a place at the Olympic Games. The World Wrestling Championships before the Olympics has always been regarded one of the most difficult competitions, because athletes come not just to earn a medal but also a place at the Olympics. I had a difficult subgroup at the World Championships, which I handled overall. But in the semi-final I lost to the current world champion, a Georgian called Petriashvili. So all I got was a bronze medal. A place at the Olympics, which was won at the World Championships, is not personal. The right to participate in the Summer Games still has to be defended from other contenders. But Oleksandr is confident in his abilities and doesn't even doubt the fact that he'll go to the 2020 Olympics. He's already had a taste of the Olympics, as he was a competitor at the London Games in 2012. When I earned my place at the London Olympics, I was 21 years old. Naturally, I just had a dream, even as they say, not victory, but the main goal was to take part. I just wanted to take part in the Olympics. Well, and so it happened. I lost my first duel to a fighter from Turkey in 2012, but great impressions still remained with me after the London Olympics. And that's how a young guy visited, took part and fought, gained this experience, breathed that air, and saw the atmosphere of those Olympic Games. And while Oleksandr Khotsianivskyi wasn't able to show himself properly at his first Olympics, as he lost at the very start of the tournament to Turkish wrestler Taha Agül, the result did not disappoint him. He tested himself among the mighty of this world and realized that he would return for victories at the Olympics. But later, it was such a push for me for future competition, for the future Olympics. I saw them standing on the podium, I saw them rejoicing, I saw national flags raised. And inside, you know, it gave me such impetus, especially since I was just a young guy, 21 years old. It stuck with me so much that I said to myself, I'll get to the Olympics in Rio as well. Even though I earned a spot in Rio, I lost the preliminaries and didn't go. At home, Oleksandr's successes are seen and supported by two of his favorite girls, his wife Ina and daughter Polina. His 4-year-old daughter doesn't understand much about the sport, has no clue about the various moves, but has no doubt that her dad is the strongest. She did miss her star dad's moment of triumph at the World Championships. She watched the matches online with her mom and cheered him on. She watched carefully on an iPad via the internet. She watched all competitions with my wife. She cheered, even clapped. She understands that she has already come to watch competitions in Kiev, watch the Kiev tournament. If you ask her who her dad is, she says he's a wrestler. And I'm already making sure to accustom her to some kind of small schedule, to training. She also goes to the pool and dances. Well, she understands that dad works there, and this is dad's training. She came here to the base and performed somersaults with me. While Oleksandr is away training, traveling and competing, they both miss him a lot. The best time for them is when they're all together, but due to the Ukrainian wrestlers' busy schedule, these days are not as frequent as they would like. Show how you hug Dad. She understands where Dad is and asks, "Doesn't this hurt Dad? Why is he standing like that?" And he's relaxing there. She dedicates so much of her life to Dad that she, a little girl, but in fact joins me in following his performances and fights. It's very important that she supports him. You know, I think that when she's supporting him from a distance, he feels it. Obviously, I also support him. He's also number one for us, and we always want him be first. Oleksandr was born in the small village of Andriivka in Donetsk region. His choice of sports during childhood was limited. It was either football or wrestling. The 9-year-old school child tried both options. At first, as a child, I played football one day, then wrestled the next. One day for football and the next for wrestling. Later, it so happened that our football coach moved to another city, so there was nothing but wrestling left, and roughly speaking, I just stayed with wrestling. Well, because my old classmates from school took up wrestling, and my brother took up wrestling too. And it so happened that I ended up sticking with wrestling. Oleksandr's elder brother trod the path into the sport for his younger sibling. Khotsianivskyi followed in his brother's footsteps by joining a village wrestling club first of all, and then went on to improve his skills at the regional Serhii College of Olympic Reserve. My older brother played a big role because he went there first, was the first to take up the sport. He studied there and used to come home for weekends and tell me everything. So I knew where he was, what he was, how it was, what the conditions were like there. He used to always tell his parents everything. He was like a pioneer there. And after my brother enrolled 4 years or so passed, I don't know exactly, and then I enrolled as well. Oleksandr's brother did not stay in wrestling for long. He reached the level of youth champion of Ukraine, and then, due to frequent injuries, had to leave professional sport. Oleksandr's circumstances were different. He realized the fact that wrestling was his future in 2009, when he became the strongest at the Youth Championship of Ukraine. In addition to this title, Oleksandr got the opportunity to prove himself on the international arena and understand what results he can attain in this sport. I won my first Ukrainian Youth Championship. In 2010, I won the Ukrainian Championship again, got an award at the World Youth Championships. And probably since that time, when I began getting results such as the Ukrainian Championship, the European Championship, I realized that I'll be here for a long time, that this is my work, my life. The first of Khotsianivskyi's favorite wrestling tournaments to etch itself into his memory was the competition in Mariupol. Back then, he took part in the under 58 kilograms category, and the prizes for victory were sweet. We always used to travel to various Christmas tournaments. They gave us all sorts of candy. I remember how much joy I felt when I won a tournament and got chocolates or something else like that, all kinds of gifts for kids. This was probably what I remember most from children's competitions, because there were no incentives there. We would just go to a competition to fool around, but this was a real incentive. More than 20 years have passed since then, and now, being a champion and a dad, Oleksandr Khotsianivskyi encourages the achievements of his daughter Polina in modern dances through sweets. And Oleksandr himself still has a sweet tooth, so after a grueling performance, the family always pampers him with various goodies. He loves sweets, so we have a little tradition. After each competition, we make him some tasty sweets, cakes, various muffins. That is, he knows that after a competition, no matter whether he comes back with or without a medal, we'll always be waiting for him with something sweet and tasty. No matter if he wins or loses, he knows he'll always have cake and tea for the night when he goes to bed. There's no progress without failure. Successes help one to move higher and higher. But without annoying disappointments, without lost victories, without working on mistakes, one cannot rise to the top in any sport. Oleksandr learned this a long time ago. So failures in sports never knock him out of his stride, but on the contrary, they help him to improve his skills. After a loss, of course, you start working twice as hard to avoid making such mistakes there at competitions, because no one wants to lose. And triumphs, you know, if you win all the time, then it spoils you, roughly speaking. Without defeats, there are no victories, as they say. Well, victories are, relatively speaking, also an incentive, but so are defeats.
стимулирует и поражение.
After an unsuccessful performance, should such a thing happen on a wrestling mat, Oleksandr knows that he'll find support and comfort at home. He won't be reminded unnecessarily of his failures and given space to figure out where he erred or why it didn't work out. The best way to regain a positive attitude is to spend time surrounded by loved ones.
Посещаем разные парки, мы посещаем
We visit various parks, visit different children's centers. He can bring us all to ride bicycles together. That is, this year daughter has already learned to ride by herself, and we can just rent bicycles and go to our forest to ride bicycles there. Or just go to the forest, feed some squirrels. I mean that for us it's not really important where we go, as long as we're always together.
Главное, чтобы мы были вместе всегда.
Oleksandr's daughter, at the age of 4, goes dancing and visits the pool. At this age, parents try to instill discipline in her, get her accustomed to a regime. But Oleksandr doesn't see Polina in professional sports, especially in wrestling.
Если был бы мальчик,
If I had a boy, I would have sent him into wrestling in any event. I would train him up myself for wrestling, martial arts. You know, it tempers one's strength of character, provides discipline. But well, a girl, is, you know, is such a kind and gentle person, and I would never want to see her in any sort of martial arts. There are certain other sports such as gymnastics, swimming, tennis out there that I would direct her towards, but I would never send her into wrestling or martial arts.
и на такой вид спорта дал бы, а вот на борьбу, на единоборство не отдал.
Since Oleksandr personally knows how difficult it is to achieve success in sports, he's continually motivating and supporting his daughter. And though he's rarely present at Polina's performances due to his busy sporting schedule, any of her results is success for him.
Он постоянно ее хвалит.
He's always praising her. He gives her various gifts after every competition, whatever she wants, to show her that she's done a good job. He supports her in every possible way to show her that they're both losses and triumphs.
И как бы и взлеты. Я бы не сказала, что
I wouldn't say that he could ever tell her that she performed poorly. For him, she's the best, and he always tells her that.
это всегда говорит.
Oleksandr himself follows the example of Ossetian freestyle wrestler Artur Taymazov, who brought glory to Uzbekistan with his performances. By the way, Taymazov's older brother, Timur, brought Ukraine a gold medal in weightlifting at the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta.
10 лет назад
And I said in an interview 10 years ago that for me, Artur Taymazov was such a motivator. He represented Uzbekistan, a three-time Olympic champion. I even fought him in Kiev at a tournament in 2012 before the Olympics. I fought against him at a tournament, and he won the Olympics that same year. Well, he was perhaps such a big figure for me, you know?
ну, я на него
Well, I've been chasing his shadow all my life. He's always been an example to follow because he was a three-time Olympic champion. Oleksandr has a special attitude towards women's wrestling. In fact, he calls its participants robots. On the one hand, he admires them. On the other, he doesn't understand how they manage to balance sport and a personal life.
они успевают.
They manage to give birth, go on maternity leave, then return and win competitions. Then they come back from maternity, return to sport. At the same time, they have children throughout almost the entire period, bring them to training camps. But this kind of work is just unrealistic.
Такой труд
I don't know how they manage to combine all of this, but it's very, very, very difficult.
ну, это очень тяжело.
Professional sports are physically demanding because of the huge workloads involved, but they're even more demanding psychologically. For example, before the World Championships, Oleksandr Khotsianivskyi did not see his family for about 2 months. Training took place away from the family. He missed them terribly. Phone calls helped a little, but it was so pleasant to return from the championships with a bronze medal. All that work and effort were not in vain after all.
После чемпионата мира я реально
After the World Wrestling Championships, I really felt a sense of relief, really let go of those emotions, of all that. I felt relief and said to myself, now finally I can have a well-deserved rest, stay at home with my family, go out for a walk and have a meal somewhere. Because I always was, you know, under pressure, like having a stone on my shoulders. There's always this tough schedule. I get up every morning and train and see nothing but that. Just wake up, train, sleep, but you discover that this monotonous work is a bit hard to maintain psychologically. The next stage in Oleksandr Khotsianivskyi's serious training is the Olympics in Tokyo. More training and more separation from loved ones lie ahead of him. He believes that he can bring back a reward from the Olympics too. He's ready to work even harder for the sake of this dream.
хочется прославить
I want to bring glory to my country and myself so that the flag of our country of Ukraine gets raised high. This is perhaps the greatest pride. And you know, the second such point is to prove to everyone that I really do have a good reason to be in this sport, that all this sweat and tough schedule, all this work was spent for a good cause.
в спорте не зря был, столько режима, столько пота, столько труда было истрачено. Ну, и
I want to stand on the podium and have my loved ones, my friends, my family happy and proud of me, of the fact that I really have achieved great heights.
друзья, моя семья была горда мною, что я реально достиг больших высот.
When Oleksandr won the bronze medal at the World Championships in Kazakhstan, he was 29. He is approaching the age when he still has abundant heroic strength and has already acquired invaluable experience. This is the golden age of a heavyweight, and the Ukrainian wrestler plans to take advantage of this at the 2020 Olympics in Tokyo.